Hello and good day to wherever you are in the racing world. Good afternoon. This is the Racedepartment.com virtual BMW Racing Cup, the opening round of this four-race championship from the Silverstone International Circuit. I'm RJ O'Connell, and today I'll be joined by Ricardo Edelman and Yuri Kastorp, who will call this 28-lap race here at the Silverstone International Circuit. It is going to be one of the best races that we will see all weekend. It is a brand new league started up just now, and we will be calling all four of the races this season on Racedepartment.com. This is looking to be quite the race. We have a almost full field of 23 cars here for this opening round of the primary server. Ricardo, Yuri, your thoughts on this race?
Yes, good evening, everybody. As you said, it's going to be almighty close here. The lap times in practice we've seen we're already super close. The whole field is super close in the circuit on the Silverstone International. It should be some really close racing we're going to see today. As you said, probably one of the best races you'll see this whole weekend.
Yeah, right, exactly. My thoughts about it. We actually have this new series now, which I'm really excited about. It's the first real series on Assetto Corsa that Racedepartment will broadcast and hold. So I think it will be quite interesting.
Right, and as we go through, and I'll take a look here at this Silverstone International Circuit. Now, Silverstone, of course, really the home of motorsport in Great Britain, but we have this international layout. It's a clockwise layout featuring 9 corners. It's around 2.9 kilometers in length. We'll be doing 28 laps on this circuit. And the BMW M235i Racing Cup cars, which have over 330 horsepower and actually their own class in the VLN Endurance Championship, we should expect these cars to top over 120 miles per hour down that long hangar straightaway, which will give plenty of drivers ample passing opportunities going into corners like Stowe, Abbey, and of course going out of Beckett's onto that hangar straight. Right now we are in the middle of our 15-minute qualifying session that will set the starting grid for this 28-lap feature race. Should take about 35 minutes to get through the features. Of course, we do want to thank a lot of people who helped make all this possible, including Sunny Sky Racing for modifying this great track for all of us, and of course Nick Murdoch for our television overlays that you will see on today's broadcast.
Yes, we just started the qualifying session here at Silverstone, and there's quite a few people already out. Of course, we had the server restarted, and now the moment everybody could rejoin, you could go out and set your fastest time in qualifying. Looks like so far only Tim Farbach has had a lap. It's a 1:13.1. That's about 1.2 seconds off the fastest time we've seen in practice.
And now we have Jack Keithley going to the top of the boards with a 1:11.906. Keithley was in one of the top 3 spots in the pre-qualifying session that would determine which drivers start in this primary circuit and which will race in the secondary server, which will run concurrent to this. In the practice sessions, we had 3 drivers go under 1 minute and 12 seconds, and we should see that. We should probably see a pole time in around that 1:11.9 mark. Possibly get down even lower into the 1:11.8. And of course, we could see some drivers with some faster times yet. Jack Keithley still atop the boards with that 111.906. And it's Ross Balfour in second with a 112.160. Stelios Fevgatos of Greece is third with a 112.3. And Rami Mattila of Finland is a fourth with a 112.5.
Actually, we have still some problems with Assetto Corsa. The skin pack is installed, but it still shows no livery, so we have white cars all over the place right now here. I can't really do anything about it. It's just Assetto Corsa. I set it up correctly, but it just doesn't work really.
That's too bad we won't see any of these beautiful liveries. We've seen some really good ones already. I was going through them in practice and some of them really overdone themselves with the cars.
Yes, and a lot of beautiful cars here on display, and that's one of the great things about sim racing, is that it opens up a lot of drivers' imaginations to go freely with their own car designs. Use whatever sponsors or color combinations they wish, many of which you probably wouldn't ever see on a real-life racing track. Only the most bold and daring teams would probably dare to run as ambitious designs as some of these. We do have 23 fully liveried cars. It's the same, most of you won't be able to see them, but there is, of course, going to be a great race that we will have, and we have a new provisional pole sitter, and it's already been reset. So Paul Patrick went to the top of the board with a 111.839. That time was quickly beaten by Hani Al-Sadi, the fastest driver in the pre-qualifying session, who now sits atop the leaderboards with a 111.769. And that is a very, very quick lap that may have been the fastest of this weekend. We have just about 8 minutes and 45 seconds left to go in this qualifying session. We do hope you're enjoying all the action you will see here at Racedepartment.com, YouTube.com/Racedepartment. This, of course, a big day for Race Department, the virtual BMW Racing Cup in Assetto Corsa, but also in Assetto Corsa itself, with the announcement that the game is coming to PlayStation 4 and Xbox One next year. So that is something for console racing sim fans to look forward to next year. They will be getting their hands on Assetto Corsa, as so many great players in Assetto Corsa have been used to playing this game on PC. Jack Keithley is back on top of the boards. We're starting to see these lap times tumble as the track surface starts to rubber in. Jack Keithley now atop the boards with a 111.606. So we're starting to see these times tumble. Of course, the dynamic surfaces will mean more grip comes into this track, and the lap times will start to fall. We should see the track start to rubber in more over the course of this race. So we may not have seen the outright fastest times by the end of this qualifying session. Air temperature 26 degrees Celsius, track temperature 32 degrees Celsius, and of course we have a 28 lap race. We should expect these cars to finish it on one tank of gas. Just past the halfway mark of this qualifying session here. Jack Keithley still on top. Hani Al-Sadi is second. Paul Patrick third. Stelios Fevgatos fourth. Akis Keprakidis is fifth. And it's Nicky Jakovic, Luka Peklaj, Ross Balfour, Jeffrey Tassinoy, and Rami Mattila rounding out the top 10. You see a car coming to...
Whole top 10 within 8/10 of a second. That's really close.
Yes, indeed. And in fact, the entire field is only covered by 2.3 seconds from the provisional pole sitter down to 23rd place Sven Walter down there at the back of the field. So it's going to be a very close race, and still a lot can happen, especially from turn one in the first lap. It's going to be all about having some very consistent racecraft and making sure that you're able to just be as quick as you possibly can for these 28 laps.
Absolutely, and Jack Keithley just improved in his time. He's now on a 111.463.
Yeah, so we are starting to see these times tumble And you're right, Yuri. Keithley still atop this leaderboard, and those fastest times are starting to come down. We're now down into the 1:11.4 range. We may have...
The track getting a bit more grippy as well as the qualifying and the race goes on. Should see the times improving. Towards the end of the session, it's really important with a field this close to put a good time in, because the track will be more grippy then, and if you can put a good time in compared to someone who maybe put a better lap in at the beginning of the session, you'll still edge them out for this qualifying.
We're seeing a lot of very competitive faces, a lot of really great drivers in this field. Of course, just looking through some of the pre-qualifying results. Of course, it was Hani Al-Sadi who topped the times in pre-qualifying with a best lap of 2:36.864, obviously at a much different track. Jack Keithley was second, that's his teammate within Mad Cape Racing Team. So the top two drivers are indeed, Nika Jakovic has now moved into second with a 1:11.487. Jakovic representing the Team Vyers squad. We have one walk racing car in the field, that's Paul Patrick. Adrian Campfield's times were actually disqualified from that pre-qualifying session, so Patrick will be the only walk racing driver in today's field. Of course, those of you who have been watching the virtual stock car championships on racedepartment.com will be very familiar with that organization, as they have been extremely successful in that third season. But right now, it is Jack Keithley of the Mad Cape Racing Team who stands atop the leaderboards in this qualifying session. We have less than 4 minutes to go. Best lap time currently sitting at a 1:11.463.
Looks like we're just going to restart the stream to try to get the skins working.
Right, so again, we do apologize to all our viewers for the technical issues. We will be back with you shortly. Hopefully we will be able to, hopefully this will be the last of our technical difficulties throughout the race. We do hope to bring you all this great racing action, because I personally am very excited about this car being able to be showcased in a scenario like this. What about you, Yuri?
Should be really interesting. It's a car that allows for a bit of rubbing as well, really close racing. It shouldn't get too much damage if you take a bit of light contact, like maybe the V8s do in Game Stock Car. If you touch one other car there, you're losing M plates left, right and center, but this should allow for some really close racing. And with the field being this close, now the top 10 within 6/10 of a second, it can go either way, and one mistake should be lethal for the top guys.
All right, so we've got just over 2.5 minutes left. Jack Keithley is first with a 1:11.463. Nicky Jakovic is second with a 1:11.487. So the the margin between first and second is only 24 1/1000ths of a second. Hani Al-Sadi is third, and Stelios Fevgatos is fourth. Akis Keverkidis is fifth. Paul Patrick is sixth. Tobias Roner is seventh. Luka Pekmaj is eighth. Ross Balfour is ninth, and Jeffrey Tassinoy rounds out the top 10. In fact, this field is covered. Only 1 second covers the top 14 cars in this field. That's more than half this grid. We have 2 minutes left to go. We actually have a new provisional pole sitter. Akis Keverkidis of Greece moves into the top spot with a 1:11.428. So the time is starting to run out in this session, and the lap times are starting to get quicker.
That's really good to see for me personally. Teammate doing well. We did not expect it after the practice we've seen, but maybe he held a bit back, didn't show his true pace, and now jumps to the top of the leaderboard with just 1 minute 30 seconds left to go.
Right, so we are starting to get down to the nitty-gritty here. We've almost set this field, but we still have plenty of time for our driver here to turn in another quick lap. We should see some drivers have time for 1 or at least maybe 2 more laps. So we'll see what happens as this session winds down. We're at the minute mark Keverkeet is still atop the times, and then we will get to this 28-lap feature race. – 47 seconds left to go now.
And it looks like we just got some news that the scans are working in the stream, so that's awesome to hear.
Yeah, so we have we resolved the issue. You should be able to see the liveries on track at this point, and if not, you will see them very shortly. You'll be able to see them from the viewer's perspective as well. We have about 30 seconds left to go. Keverkeet, Keithley are in the pits. Jakovic is still on track. Outsadi is still on track. So we still have a couple of drivers who could easily take pole position. Jakovic is going through the club corner right now. Let's see what he's got here. He'll have time for one more lap. And he improves to the top spot. He's got a 111.425, and that is good enough to get the pole, provisional pole by 3/1000ths of a second as the session winds down. Nicky Jakovic is going to the pole position with a lap time of a 111.425 on his last attempt. That was absolutely impressive stuff to watch.
Yeah, and then I was watching on Hani Absalti, the guy that set the fastest time to pre-qualifying, had the fastest time in practice. He was just coming up to the finish line when qualifying, and so he might have been on a good lap. I don't exactly know, but that would have been a real shame if he would have been on an improved lap.
Alright, so that is it. The field is set. So let's take a look at the starting grid for this first race from Silverstone. On pole is Nicky Jakovic, Bosnia. He set the fastest time by 3/1000ths of a second over Avris Keverketis of the Double Dragon Racing Team. In row 2, it's Jack Keithley and his Mad Cape Racing Team teammate, Hani Alsadi, the quickest driver in the pre-qualifying. In row 3, it's Stelios Fevgatos and Walk Racing's Paul Patrick. In row 4, it's Ross Balfour and Jeffrey Tassinoy. Row 5 is Tobias Reuner and Luca Pegla. In row 6, it's the all-finish duo of Tommy Manninen and Rami Mattia. In row 7, it's Alice Current and Sven Walter. Row 8 is Jay Adji and Tim Farbach. Row 9, Simon Knight and Dimitris Lakouris. In row 10, it's Dinka Andre and Galing Dimov. And in row 11, we have Alex Parker and Hristo Milashev. And alone on row 12 is Marco Wachter. So we have 25 cars. We were expected to have Alex Kolodkovich of the United Racing Design Team. Unfortunately, he is ill and will not be participating in today's race. We have just about 3 minutes until the start of this race, and I wanted to turn it over to my broadcast colleagues. What are you expecting out of this 28-lap feature?
I expect some really close racing from the start to the finish. With the times this close, it can't be that there are going to be big gaps, and slipstreaming is going to be important down that hanger straight. We'll see some overtakes at the end there. Just looking forward to some really good racing. Maybe looking forward to seeing Hani Absalti maybe make some positions up. He had that time in practice and pre-qualifying, and he's only starting 4th position, I believe. So we'll see about that, but it's going to be close racing all down the field.
Right, and that's going to... And as you said, Yuri, and this should be really one of the hallmarks of this BMW Racing Cup. It's a spec series, so it really comes down to the setups and the driving ability. You're going to be able to race these cars a lot closer. We should see a little bit more full contact racing, but hopefully these drivers will keep it clean. We have 2 minutes left to go until the start of this race. I personally cannot wait. Everybody giving good luck, well wishes to everybody on the grid. We're going to see these cars start to fire up here. You have just over 90 seconds until the start of the race. Just over 60 seconds to go. We hope you're enjoying this live stream at Racedepartment.com. And of course, for all of you out there, if you're interested in joining a club or a league, you can always go to Racedepartment.com. Plenty of racing action on all sorts of sims, including Assetto Corsa, R Factor 2, Stock Car Extreme, and coming soon, Race Room Racing Experience. Focus is going to be the Assetto Corsa virtual BMW Racing Cup today. We have a 28-lap race around the great Silverstone International Circuit. And these cars are all ready to go.
And we're going through great length now to make this possible in Assetto Corsa currently. It's not fully supported yet to stream this. We're having to go on the grid now and then escape back to the pits to make this work, but it should be good for everybody to watch. It's almost
Alright, the lights are coming on. We're about ready to start this race. And the virtual BMW Racing Cup is underway in Silverstone.
Looks like Akis Kravikidis has got a good jump, but he can't jump out Nicky Jakovic for the first. He's in second. I know Jack Keithley jumping up the inside. Looks like Jack Keithley will jump into second position now. Akis is on the inside, but yes, Jack Keithley into first position with Akis sliding a bit on the exit, losing even more positions here. Terrible beginning for him. That's not what he would have wanted. And then his teammate Stelios Favgatos now behind him.
And look at all these cars funneling down this long hanger straight. These cars doing over 100 miles an hour and then braking into Stowe Corner right here as late as you can. Wanting to carry as much speed through this fourth gear corner as these cars complete the first of 28 laps. Nicky Jakovic absolutely nailed that start. And he is going to lead the first lap here. Through this chicane. Only got club corner to go. We see some cars trying to hop the curbs there. As they complete the first lap, it is Nicky Jakovic who goes into the lead. Jack Keithley is second. Hani Al-Sadi is third. Akis Kebrakidis is fourth. And Paul Patrick is fifth. And we do apologize if there are any sort of technical issues at the start of this race. We do hope to get that resolved. But we are seeing some great racing here as the Mad Cape Racing car is now running 2 and 3. They may be trying to race each other. Of course, that may not be in the best interest because that would allow Nicky Jakovic to pull away. So maybe these cars should try and use some teamwork, try and get a run on him down this long straightaway. And there we see Jakovic is in front. But Keithley and Absadi are running in a tandem here, trying to use that slipstream to catch up.
Yes, I think I already saw them working together and they're getting a better run on the pit straight, but just getting off the throttle a bit to not fight each other and work together to catch up to Jakovic in the lead. Very smart driving there.
Look at this, Keithley's going to look into the outside, going into the chicane. Is he? No, he doesn't have quite enough to get the position, but he's going to stay right with the leader, Jakovic, as they complete the second lap. So it's Jakovic once again out in front. The Bosnian driver leading, and look at Keithley. Keithley is right on his back bumper. Oh, this is really close. And these drivers are some of the best that the world has to offer in terms of sim racing.
He's going to the inside now. Not yet close enough. On the exit, he seems to have a better exit though.
Oh, let's see here. They're running side by side into the link. The link takes you into Beckett's corner. Oh, Keithley's going to have the inside line, but it's not going to be enough. Jakovic is going to actually hold the position, but it's not even close to over yet. They are 3 wide down the hanger straightaway.
Yes, Alzapti there taking advantage of the fighting that Jakovic and Keithley are doing. But he's on the outside now. It's going to be hard to keep this momentum on the outside, and looks like Jakovic holds on to first position. Really good defending from him there.
This is great stuff that we're seeing, and if you are a first-time viewer, maybe not familiar with some of these drivers on the grid, you certainly will be by the time we're through with this race. So it's Jakovic, Keithley, Al-Sadi, the top 3, and they have been running like this. But we're starting to see they're not really breaking away from the field so much. Al-Sadi is in second, Keithley third. Look at this here. Al-Sadi is following right on the back bumper of Jakovic.
I just want to say that Akis Kevakidis here behind is just, he's taking advantage of the guys ahead, maybe swapping a bit positions, not taking the optimal lines, and he caught it from being 2 seconds behind within a second of the leader now, so we're gonna have a 4-way fight for the lead soon if this goes on.
Good
now
stuff.
Akis Kevakidis is right behind Jack Keithley, so it's a 4-way fight for the lead.
Right, so now we've had a 3-way battle for the lead for most of this race. It has now grown to 4. Kevrakidis has inserted himself in this picture, but it's one thing to catch this field, it's another to pass very great drivers such as the ones in this lead quartet. That still is being led by Nicky Jacobit of the Team Byers car. This has been some very good racing, a very clean racing too. We haven't seen any major incidents yet, nothing to report just, although if we do hear something, we will be able to report it to you as quick as we can. So it's Jacobit, Alsati, Keithley, Kevrakidis, Patrick the top 5. In 6th is Ross Balfour. Then you got another 2 seconds to Stelios Fevganos, Luca Piglag, and Tobias Roner, and Jay Agee rounds out the top 10 in this field. The top 4 cars only separated by 1.2 seconds, so this is continuing to escalate. And we're only in the first handful of laps here. I wouldn't be surprised if we saw a couple passing for the lead. And of course, it's up to Jacobit to control the pace up front and keep these cars behind him. He'll have the advantage of clean air throughout this track, but Alsati is going to have the advantage. Wow, look at this, they're diving all the way down to the inside to try and get that position. Alsati has a look in the outside at Stowe. I don't think that's going to get the job done, so he's going to tuck back right in behind him. Under braking now, Alsati is still going to stay with that leader, not really knows it's early in the race. It's great patience here we're seeing from the Dutch driver Alsati. Just not really pushing the envelope like a lot of drivers tend to do sometimes. You don't want to win. You certainly can't win the race at the first quarter, but you could certainly lose it. Although Alsati's going to go to the inside here. Oh, I thought he had a look at it, but he looks like he's still going to stay behind the leader.
He's being patient now. He knows the race won't be fought in 5 laps. He's trying to 8 laps you have to do here. He's got plenty of time.
And this is an intense 2.9 kilometers. It is a much shorter circuit than the Silverstone you're used to seeing. If you're a fan of Formula One, MotoGP, the World Endurance Championship, what have you. But this is still a very compelling lead.
Yes,
they are side
like
by side now for the
inside.
lead. Breaking into Stowe, and it looks like Alsati is going to take Keithley with him. My goodness. We have a new leader of the race, and it's Hani Alsati.
Keithley he's gonna try and run the outside here.
Oh, this is full.
Team working together, they both pass.
Wow, look at this. Nicky Jacobit, and he may lose a 3rd position. Here comes Kevrakidis on the inside.
Kevrakidis backed down a bit there. There wasn't room for 2 cars to go full throttle, so he was being smart and let off the throttle a small bit there. But now it's Hani Alsati and Jack Keithley into the top 2 positions. Matt Cape 1 and 2.
Wow, that was some very impressive stuff and great display of teamwork for Alsati to not only take the lead, but take his teammate Keithley with him. And now it's going to be a matter of what happens from this stage of the race. Will we see Keithley just try and be patient and wait for an opportunity to get past Alsati, or will Alsati just try and check out for the field and leave Keithley all alone? And oh goodness, looks like we have a bit of a trouble here. Broken steering wheel for Tim Farback, so very tough break for him. Now back to the leaders, though. We see Alsati ahead of Keithley. They have been running pretty much nose to tail for this entire race. Some very good stuff from both Mad Cape Racing drivers. Meanwhile, behind this lead trio, seems like Paul Patrick has now gone into 4th place. So the lone walk racing driver in this field, remember his teammate was disqualified from the pre-qualifying session and thus has to race in server 2. Paul Patrick's now moved into 4th. He's now about 2.6 seconds back of the leader, Alsati.
He's keeping the leaders inside. So are the guys behind him. It looks like someone ran right there. That was Van Walter running wide. He lost a couple of positions there. He lost one position to Fev Gadders.
Yeah, and Tim Farback is of course stopped in the track. Of course, he had that broken steering wheel, so already losing time, and that's very tough. You know, sim racing is of course not without errors. It's really unlike real racing. It's the only race where your race can end just by the drop of an internet connection, or perhaps an issue with a steering wheel peripheral.
Yes, it's the sim racer's worst nightmare. It's a mechanical problem of the sim racers.
We're now starting to see a bit of a gap here opening up. Henny Alsadi only leads by 0.5 of a second, but you see the top three cars, Alsadi, Keepley, and Jakovic, now separated from the fourth place car of Paul Patrick, who was running in fourth. Akis Kefrakidis is now slid to fifth after being pretty close behind that lead trio for...
The gaps are getting a bit bigger now, but it looks like there's a good fight for 10th. It's Simon Knight trying to get past. It's Jay Edgy in front and Simon Knight trying to get into the top 10 position.
That purple and yellow car of Simon Knight and the very wild livery of Jay Adgy there, who is currently holding on to 10th. So we got a good battle for the last spot in the top 10 in this field. BMW M235i, of course, is a car that was launched last year. It has its own class in the VLN Endurance Series, which includes the 24 Hours of the Nürburgring, and that car was very well represented in this year's race. So the M235i racing platform proving to be a very viable one for entry-level drivers all around the world, the real world, and in sim racing in this virtual BMW Racing Cup, it has proven to be quite a platform for some of the best racing there is in sim racing.
And Simon Knight just found out how hard it is to control this car. He lost it a bit through Stowe, almost lost a position there to Alice Current, but he held it and is still in 11th. But he lost contact to 10th place. So
yes, it is
back.
Yes, it is a car that is mostly stock. You have a roll cage, but you do have a Racing Tune engine, and that thing is not as it is a little bit it's not as powerful as a full-fledged racing car like the Z4 GT3, but by no means is it an easy car to drive.
Not at all. It might be an easy car to drive. It's a whole different story to try to be fast with it. And now for 8th position, it's Tobias Röner trying to get past Luca Peckley. He's going around the outside into Stowe, but we've seen that running around the outside here is hard to make the pass stick. And looks like Peckley keeps 8th position. Tobias still on the inside though.
So we have some lap traffic getting in the way of the leaders, and that is still Tim Farback, who is now a lap down. He's been passed up by the leaders now. And Alsadi's still out in front. We have completed 10 laps in this 28-lap race. So it's just been about 12 minutes. We've already had a big lead change, and Alsadi has now opened up his lead margin by over a second. He was the quickest driver in the pre-qualifying session, and he is really, really putting on the pace here in this middle stage of the race.
It looks like in this race the top 3 is getting away just slightly from Paul Patrick. Paul's 3.4 seconds behind the leader, and Jakovic in third is within 2 seconds still. So there's a bit of a gap starting to build there. But they're still all really close. The top 7 is still within 7.5 seconds, so if anything happens to these top guys, they'll drop massive amounts of positions.
This has been a very compelling race, and we have, of course, it's been a very clean one as well, so that's always great to see. We stand the level of professionalism of the drivers all the way up and down this grid. I'm looking at this battle for 8th between Peclag and Reuter's going to have a look at the inside. No, he's just going to tuck back in as they run into Abbey. Now, that's really a one-groove corner there. Only the bravest would try an inside pass move there unless you're racing the AI. But against real-life competition, it's a much different story. Peclag still holding a position, that blue and silver BMW.
And now it's all going on around the 10th position. Jay Edgy trying to hold on to it, but it's Simon Knight and Alice Curran trying to get a hold of the top 10 position.
Yeah, look at this.
Fight for it now.
Yep, they're too wide down the hangar straight, trying to get enough toe to catch the 10th place car of Adji. Looks like Curran's going to get past Knight for 11th at least. And that may have allowed Adji to open up a bit of a gap to that field behind him. No, not so much. I'm looking at it here as they're coming out of Stowe, and Adji was still feeling the pressure.
It's not done yet, and now Tommy Manningen trying to catch up to them, make it a four-way fight. Even Rami Matila behind them trying to catch up. They're all really close still.
Yes, and that close racing is going to become a staple of this virtual BMW Racing Cup. We're seeing plenty of it. So it's Jay Adji still holding on to that 10th position, and we got a contest for 8th here. Peklak still holding the position. He's still in 8th now, but Reuner had a bit of a side-by-side look at him, and he's going to get a good run here going onto the hangar straight. This is for 8th place. Peklak and Reuner. And they're going to follow each other down the hangar straight. And see if Reuner tries to look on the inside under braking. I don't think he's going to have enough room here. But we are still seeing this field is very, very close. The lead gap is now 1.1 seconds from Hani Al-Sadi to his teammate Jack Keithley. And 10th place still under pressure here as Jay Adji will now have to face the challenge of Ales Current in that blue BMW. So we have completed, so we are about the halfway mark of this race. Let's take a look down the top 10 of this field. It is Hani Al-Sadi from Jack Keithley. Nicky Jakovic, the pole sitter, is 3rd. Paul Patrick is 4th. Akis Kebrakidis is 5th alongside his teammate Stelios Fevgatos at 6th. Ross Belfour is 7th. Luca Peklak is 8th. Tobias Reuner is 9th. And Jay Adji rounds out the top 10. We have 22 cars on the lead lap. Tim Farbach has had steering wheel issues and is currently off the pace. But otherwise, we have had a very clean race, no major incidents, nothing to report as far as that's concerned.
It's very respectful driving we've seen so far. And now this fight for 10th place with the 4 guys. Simon Knight trying something on Alice Curran, but running a bit wide. He's losing a bit of time, but I'm sure he'll catch up again soon.
Simon Knight.
No problem.
Yeah, we're looking at it here. Knight following Curran, following Adji. This has been the best battle on the track now for the last couple of laps. So every position matters, and every championship points matters. It's only a 4-race championship that we're going to have this year. So every point you could get, it's all about consistency and maximizing those opportunities to pick up championship markers this season. And that battle for 10th is happening about 20 seconds away from the leaders at this time. Whoa, big slide from Knight coming out of the link onto the hangar straight.
He's gonna lose time here down the whole hangar straight to the guys ahead. That's gonna cost him.
Right. Remember, that hangar straight, the longest and the fastest straight on this course, not just in the international circuit, but also in the whole of Silverstone. It is a car where Formula 1 cars can get up to about 200 miles an hour down that long straightaway. And these BMW Cup cars will easily exceed 100 miles per hour. Oh, goodness. Adji has his mirrors full of competitors. Alice Curran is just filling up those rearview mirrors at this point in time.
I'll have to say that Adji is doing a really good job holding them all back. He seems to lack a bit of the pace towards the guys behind him, but they haven't really had the chance to get past him on any occasion yet. So he's doing a really good job holding on to the top 10 position for the moment.
Great stuff, and great display of clean defensive driving here from Jay Adji as he tries to hold off this field behind him, who has been just giving him fits for at least a good 10 laps. up at the front of the field, we have Hani Al-Sadi still up in front as he has been for most of this race. His lead margin was at 1.7 seconds on this last lap. And he is, so it's still about 1.7 seconds to his teammate Keithley. Doesn't seem like the cars are really struggling with any tire issues. In fact, the track is gaining grip as we have gone along. Still at about 26 degrees, 32 degrees track temperature. So this track is slowly gaining speed as we go on into these final laps. And also they burned off plenty of fuel as well, so we should see some outright fastest laps of this race session.
I'll tell you who else is gaining speed, and that's Paul Patrick in 4th, now closing up to Niki Djakovic in 3rd. It's a fight building there. He's been over 2 seconds behind, and it's just 1.1 now. So maybe within a couple of laps we'll see a fight for 3rd position. That's
a good call, Yuri. You're right. Paul Patrick, who had been about 2 seconds adrift from the lead trio, now all of a sudden he is reeling in the pole sitter, Niki Djakovic. So that walk racing car is getting better towards the latter part of the races. Paul Patrick is finding a rhythm. Remember, he doesn't have a teammate in this race to help him out here. He's doing this all by himself. Patrick is now about less than a second away from Djakovic in 3rd. Patrick is 4th, and he has really opened it up on Akis Kevrakidis, who's now almost 3 seconds behind Patrick at this point in the race. So a good drive from Paul Patrick here, and we're seeing at this Silverstone circuit. We have elapsed 20 minutes, and 17 laps have come off the boards in this 28-lap feature. Hani Al-Sadi has been out front for most of this race. Niki Djakovic started on pole and led the first handful of laps, so now he's slid in 3rd and is in the clutches of Paul Patrick.
It's a bit surprising to see from Akis Kevrakidis. He started out in qualifying so well, only 0.003 of a second behind pole position. Now he seems to be steadily losing a bit of ground, missing that last bit of pace that the leaders do have. He's losing touch with the top 4 now, but he looks still solid in 5th place with his teammate Fab Gatos behind him.
For 8th place, Tobias Reuner on the inside of Luca Peglag. Is he going to get the job done at Stowe? He had the inside line. He had a pretty late entry point. They're still going side by side in the chicane. Look at this. Peglag's now going to have the inside corner in the first part of the chicane. Now Reuner's going to try it up and under. Is he going to be able to get it done? He's still following him here. Whoa, it's so close to the edge of control there. Peglag still holding on to 8th place after a very strong challenge from Tobias Reuner. They've really been going at it for 8th place now, and it looks like Reuner has all the speed, but he's just been frustrated here, trying to find a way past Peglag. Meanwhile, Peglag's teammate Alice Current has gotten by. He's gotten by for 10th past Jay Agee.
It's still not over for Jay Agee though. It's Maninen now behind him with Simon Knight, all trying to get past Hill for 11th position now.
And look at this. Jay Agee starting to fall back into the clutches of those behind him. He had done so well to hold on to 10th place for most of this race, and now he's in the clutches of Tommy Maninen and Simon Knight, who were still bearing down on him. And all this while Alice Current is starting to pull away in 10th. Speaking of pulling away, Hani Al-Sadi's lead now up to over 2.5 seconds. And we would like to thank everybody that has been watching this opening race of the virtual BMW Racing Cup. We have over 100 viewers watching, and we would like to greet each and every one of you and thank you for tuning in to today's live stream. And we hope to see you throughout the rest of the season and through all Race Department League events that will be live streamed on Racedepartment.com. We have the final round of the Virtual Stock Car Championship this Saturday from Rio de Janeiro. The championship will be decided there at a great historic racing circuit. Our focus now is going to be on this race. We're on the 20th lap. So why don't we take a lap on board with our leader of the race, Hani Al-Sadi, who has been controlling the race up front.
And while you were doing the nice talks there, it seems like Simon Knight got past Tommy Manningen, but he's having a look down the inside and they make contact there. So it looks like Simon Knight and Thomas Manningen are out on Stowe corner there.
Yep, Knight has spun around and has lost several positions, and those are the risks you take as racing drivers. So Simon Knight loses out big time in that exchange.
Looked like a very light contact, but maybe in the wrong position. They both spun around because of that contact.
Right.
We'll have to review that after the race, but it didn't look too bad from where I was watching it. Very unfortunate for both the drivers there.
Indeed, and that, of course, all these incidents will be reviewed after the race to determine whether or not penalties should be issued. We've completed 20 laps now, and Al-Sadi's still out in front. I'm going to try and see if we can go on board one lap with the leader as he completes Club Corner. He's been very fast all this session. He's got a lead of about 2.5 seconds. Just really, really smooth on these controls. Very tight lines.
Hitting lines lap after lap. It's really, really impressive what he's showing here.
Yep, down to the third gear, that Abbey corner. Getting on to Beckett's and into the hanger straight in fourth. Maxing out the revs on this hanger straight, trying to go as fast as he can. This car has 8 gears. You'll only be using about 6 of them in this scenario. Then the braking as late as you like for Stowe. Drop it down in the 5th, then in the 4th. Carrying as much speed as you can, because this is the fastest corner, one of the fastest corners on the track. Always has been for a number of years. Second gear into the chicane. Then through to Club Corner, which will complete the lap. And that's just a demonstration of the speed that we'll see out of a top driver like Hani Al-Sadi. We're in the final laps of this race. 25 minutes have elapsed here. The lead is now 2.7 seconds. And this has been a very good race.
Don't know about you, but I'm just impressed by how Hani Al-Sadi is taking these lines lap after lap, using the maximum amount of the circuit and nothing more, lap after lap without making any mistakes. He's been pulling away from the rest of the field steadily throughout this whole race after he got the lead. He's really impressing me. I knew he was a fast driver, but just leaving the field behind like he's doing now, it's really impressive.
All right, looking now Tobias Reuner has moved into 8th, so that battle for 8th that had been brewing for laps, it has now gone in the favor of Tobias Reuner, but Luca Peklag is still on his back bumper, and he's got his teammate LS Current with him. So this has now become a 3-way battle for 8th with a brand new leader in Tobias Reuner, and he has his mirrors full of cars here.
Would be very cool to see if they, the same as Magny-Cours Racing did at the beginning of the race, can make that teamwork improve their chances to get that position. We saw Hani Al-Sadi at the start of the race getting past the lead, getting past Jakovic, and then Keithley joining in directly when Hani Al-Sadi pushed him a tiny bit wide, going side by side, and they both took the lead after that. So Magny-Cours 1 and 2 after that. Really good teamwork, and it's going to be interesting to see if they can do the same here to Tobias Reuner.
The core racing cars. This great team of Alice Curran and Luca Peklag. Peklag is 9th, Curran is 10th, and they are running in tandem trying to chase down Tobias Reuner. It'll be interesting to see what comes out of this exchange. The laps are winding down. We're on lap 24. We have 5 laps to go in this one. This is going to get good. Oh, Curran is right on the back bumper of his teammate. Oh, and he's got to be so careful not to get it. They're following so close.
Backlight right on the rear bumper of Reuner, but he's not giving that inside up. So Backlight has to go around the outside into Stowe corner here.
Yes, and that may not be the best move unless Reuner does not get a good run here. They're still going to be side by side, but they're going to run out of room here. Not necessarily. Now Peklak's going to have the inside line in the chicane, and Current's going to try and go with him. Oh, Reuner tries to slam the door. They touched Bro ever so slightly. Peklak's through. Current is through. They both make it work. The core racing guys have now moved into 8th and 9. Peklak has reassumed 8th position. Reuner drops 2 spots, and Current's going to try and challenge his teammate for 8th.
Very impressive teammates there. The teamwork there was really impressive. Peklak giving Reuner no room there in the chicane and allowing Current to get past as well, but Reuner isn't done with this yet.
And
He's
look at
the
this.
inside here. Going over the curb.
Oh, they touch it! Peklak spins! Current's gonna go through into 8th. Peklak has spun and crashed. Oh, what a disappointment.
Showing some respect. He was waiting a bit. Seems like he's going again now. Seems like Reuner lost his car a bit going over that social curb on the inside there, and then they touched. And very unfortunate there for Current. Not what he deserves after that great fight he put up.
Oh, goodness me. And that is disappointing.
It really is after that great fight, great clean fight we've seen, and then for something like that to have happened, it's really unfortunate. It's not what Reuner would have wanted, I bet.
Alright, so we're going to see how this all shakes out now. It is, Luca Peklak in 8th. Jay Agee moves back into 9th. Tobias Reuner is in 10th. And of course, that incident will likely be under review. And we are now at about the point, and the outside completing another lap here. And we have just about 3 laps to go in this opening round of the virtual BMW Racing Cup. Alsadi now has to negotiate lap traffic. That lap car will let him by. No sweat whatsoever. Alsadi's lead is now over almost 4 seconds to his teammate Jack Keithley, so he has had the pace all day long.
And Djokovic, together with Paul Patrick, not leaving off of Keithley there. They're still in contention. If anything happens to Keithley, he's going to be right in the fight for that 3rd or 4th position.
Right, because they've still got Paul Patrick with them. Patrick is still in 4th, and he's hanging with the 2nd and 3rd place cars. So anything could still...
Now, Arnold, after his accident, he's in 14th place now. He's gonna try to make a bit up again. He's been patient so far.
Wow, he dove in as close as he possibly could to the car in front. That's Dinka Andre in 13th place. So, obviously, feeling... perhaps trying to get as much track position as he possibly can back out of this.
He's running out of time, though.
And look at this. I believe we've opened up this lead to over 4.1 seconds.
And just ahead of them there, Dinka Andre jumps up into 12th, past Rami Mattia.
Right, so look at this. There has been some great racing that we've had all up and down the field. And we'll keep an eye on that. Meanwhile, up front, Danny Alsadi has controlled this race. We are on a final lap, and we go into Store Corner for one more time. Danny Alsadi, who was the quickest driver in the preseason testing, and we have a fight for P2 behind them. So that's going to be something interesting to watch. Look at this. Djokovic dives down the inside.
They make contact a bit.
They make contact. Djokovic is going to run wide.
And now Paul Patrick, oh no! Paul Patrick had the position for a bit, but Djokovic touched him. And now Djokovic back into 3rd position. With all that happening, Hani Al-Sabti wins the first round here of the BMW Championship. The BMW 325i Racing Championship.
Oh man, that was a very frantic finish to a great race, and it is Alsati who takes the win. He led over 20, he led about 24, 25 laps. I don't have the exact figure in front of me, but he was dominant once he got to the lead. Jack Keithley holds on a frantic finish for second, taking it over the pole sitter, Nicky Jakovic in third, and Paul Patrick in fourth. Akis Kefrakidis is fifth, Stelios Mafgatos is sixth, Las Balfour seventh, Luka Peklak survived the melee behind him to finish 8th, Jay Adji in 9th, and Tobias Reuner rounds out your top 10. That was a very, very wild finish to the race, and certainly certainly a finish that really was really sort of something you come to expect from a race like this. Did this race meet your expectations, Yuri?
It exceeded them. It really did. We had fights all the way through the pack. We had a good fight there at the start for the top 4 positions. Nice back there going, really close racing. Then we had good fights throughout the lower parts of the top 10 after that, and just at that epic finish, it left me without words there. Everything happening there with 2-3 corners to go, it was frantic. I still can't believe what happened there.
Right, right. That was just good stuff. We saw some contact, but we kept it mostly clean there. Nice goodness. Our colleague Ricardo Edelman, he's without words from what we understand, and goodness, that was some great stuff. So of course these results are coming in, and then, of course, any incidents will be reviewed after the race. We hope to have somebody come in for a post-race interview. This was 28 laps, official race distance. Annie Alsati of the Netherlands comes away your winner for the Mad Cape Racing team in this opening round of the virtual BMW Racing Cup. We're going to check to see if anybody would like to join us for a post-race interview.
I've asked the Mad Cape guys. Maybe they'll be able to come and do a post-race interview.
Right, and as we're going through that, just to remind our viewers of the schedule that is coming up for this virtual BMW Racing Cup. It is a 4-race season. The next round is going to be held on the 10th of June, and that will be at the Donington Park National Circuit. That is the track built by Bruin, and the third round will come from the former home of the San Marino Grand Prix at Imola, and the fourth and final round will be at the Nürburgring Sprint Circuit. So 4 amazing tracks built for this sort of racing, and they will comprise this 4-race cup schedule.
It looks like we're going to get the full Mad Cape Racing team for some post-race interviews here. They finished 1 and 2, really good showing of the team here.
And it looks like we are indeed going to try and see if we can speak to our successful team, the team that finished 1-2, this Mad Cape Racing squad of Annie Alsati and Jack Keithley, who have surely had one of the most wild races that... Well, if this opening race is the benchmark, then I would be surprised to see how it could be cleared in the rounds to come, Yuri.
I don't know how they're going to top this race, but you never know with these wonderful guys racing here. It's been so close. We've seen in qualifying the whole top 10 within, well, even within a second. It's bound to get some close racing even towards the end of the rest of the season. I think this won't be the end of the close racing we've seen, and we'll see more of this. If not, I don't know how, but I wouldn't be surprised if it gets even better than this race.
While Donington is up next, and from its tenure in touring car racing, we should definitely expect more of the same. So it looks like we do have the second place driver, Jack Keithley, with us Jack, that was an absolutely frantic finish, and you held on for second place. Just try and tell us what it was like just going through with that fight for third position with the pole sitter.
Yeah, it was a bit hectic. As you probably saw, a back marker held us up coming through turn 4, and I saw Nicky was close. And turn 6 wasn't that good. I knew Nicky was trying to get a run, and I saw Nicky get a run, and I just saw go straight to the inside. And I don't know what happened. I felt some contact. He might have hit me. He might have been hit. He got into me. I'm not sure, but yeah, it was quite hectic.
Well, both of you guys did a really good job. Did you expect going into the race that you guys would have a chance at maybe finishing first and second in this race?
No, with these kind of cars on this track, you can't really predict anything. I mean, we knew we had some speed going into it, but you don't know what Nicky's doing, you don't know what Paul's doing, and it was always going to be close. And Akis definitely a surprise package in qualifying, so yeah, we're absolutely thrilled to get a 1-2, but you just don't know beforehand, obviously, how it's going to go, and you know what your plan is, but sticking to that is harder than you think.
Yes, we saw some wonderful teamwork there at the start with you guys. Both passed the leader there, with Honey Alzati running him a bit wide in Stoke corner, allowing you to get past within a corner, really. It was really great showing of really good teamwork, and I saw Alzati lifting off a bit as well when he was behind you at the start, so not fighting each other, trying to get a good result for the whole team, which is really good to see.
Yeah, it's just really good to have a teammate who's got, obviously a team mentality, and we gelled since we first started testing together, and it's as good as it's ever been. We just hope we can keep this until the end of the season, and then go on to further things.
Right. Well, Jack, it was an absolute pleasure to watch this race unfold. Good luck next Wednesday at Donington. We look forward to seeing you out there.
Okay, thank you very much.
All right. Looks like we do have some more interviews coming up, including one with our winner of the race. That would be Hani Al-Sadi, who was the quickest man in preseason testing. But this race, you came in and you were probably a bit disappointed not to start this race in the front row, but you used great teamwork. Did you and your teammate plan to overtake them there at once in those opening laps?
The plan was to try and push as hard as possible and to pass Akis, so that Nicky Djokovic doesn't get away. So, and we had team orders like, if Jack is in front, I won't get in the way and slow him down. So that worked out, but I felt like I had a bit more of the pace compared to Jack, so I felt like I can maybe attack Nicky a bit more, so I passed him and went for the attack. And it worked out, actually. When I attacked Nicky, there was some room left, and Jack took it. So it worked out pretty well, eventually.
So after you took the lead there in the first couple of laps, was it hard to maintain the lead? Really keeping your teammate behind and maintaining that good pace you were showing with the guys behind you trying to catch up?
I knew that Jack has the pace because we practiced together, we raced together. I knew he could follow me, but I didn't have any worries behind me because Jack is my teammate. He won't attack, but he had Nicky behind him, so he had to worry even more than I did. And I think he made some mistakes, which made him drop back a little bit.
That sounds like it's really good team play there, really giving you guys an advantage if you're both at the top and you know that you don't have to worry about maybe someone making a late move or just make it hard for the other guy. So that's great to see. Have you still got a question, RJ?
Just one more question. We have Donington next weekend. It's a bit of a different animal, but you still have but it's still going to be a place for close racing. How confident are you that you're going to be able to carry this form into the next race at Donington Park?
Well, I think Jack and I will be definitely in the top four. I'm looking forward to Paul Patrick. He showed some great pace in the race. I was watching his lap times. So I know he's really fast driver, so I'm looking forward to it.
All right. Well, Hanny, that was a very commanding win. You dominated for most of the race, and it was well deserved. Great drive. We look forward to seeing you once again next weekend.
Thank you, and goodbye.
And that was our race winner, Hanny Al-Sadi, joining us for a quick post-race interview. As we start to wrap up our broadcast, check to see if we've got any more interviews coming. If not, we will start to wrap up and look forward to the next round in Donington Park. While we're just waiting to see if we have anybody else we'd like to talk to, Yuri, your thoughts on the Donington National Circuit?
It's bound to show some good racing. We've seen this in the British Touring Car Championship already, that it always produces some great racing on this track. And these cars won't be any different, I think. It might even be some better racing as this one. This one, it had some overtake opportunities like at the Stoke corner, but we saw it was really hard to carry the speed through the outside there. We saw that it wasn't necessarily hard to pass, but it was easy to defend as well. And with Donington Park, it might be a little different there next week.
Yes, indeed. That, of course, is going to happen on the 10th of June, this same time on this same channel, racedepartment.com/livestream, youtube.com/racedepartment. We will have coverage of that. We will also be having coverage of, in the real-life racing world, we'll have coverage of the Canadian Grand Prix this weekend. And then next weekend, the 24 Hours of Le Mans. Our sim racing schedule will also include Round 5 of the Virtual Stock Car Championship on Saturday at 3 p.m. Eastern Time. That would be 1900 GMT. So it has been a very fun race, and I cannot wait for more action like this. Let's see. It looks like we may not have anybody else to interview, unfortunately. But we did hear from our top two finishers, and that will about wrap things up here for this, our coverage of the opening round of the Race Department Virtual BMW Racing Cup. It has been an absolute honor and a privilege to call this action for you, and we hope to be able to do more like this throughout the rest of the championship season. Big thanks to Nick Murdoch for providing our broadcast overlays for today's race. We have Sunny Speed Racing, who provided these modified tracks for us to be able to call the action from. And, of course, our good friend Ricardo Edelman, who provided all the pictures for today's race. And, of course, my broadcast colleague, Yuri Kasdorp, I look forward to working throughout the entire rest of this Racing Cup season.
Yes, we've had some technical difficulties here at the start, which is to be expected when you're first running a league on some game that it's hard to do this at. It's hard to show the live stream at. We had to do some workarounds, as with the track that was provided with us, to get some extra spaces on that. But after the rough start we had in the stream, delaying the start a bit, we had a really perfect stream of the race. We had nice skins showing, and I think it couldn't have gone better after the stream properly started.
And you know what, Yuri? I could not have agreed more. So that will about wrap things up for our coverage here from the Silverstone International Circuit. Our winner of the race, Hanny Al-Sadi, comes away victorious in the opening round of this virtual BMW Racing Cup. For my partner Yuri Kasdorp, Ricardo Edelman, Nick Murdoch, Sunny Speed Racing, and everybody involved in making this first round of the virtual BMW Racing Cup a success. I'm RJ O'Connell saying so long for now, and we will join you next Wednesday, June 10th, from the Donington Park Circuit for the second round of the virtual BMW Racing Cup.